Okay, welcome to another shop talk. Been a busy week. Just preparing this for my local pub. It's going to be a play area for the kids. Got some nice Western red cedar cladding, some soft flooring, some climbing stuff going on in there, so that's quite cool. My customer's coming today for these nightstands, which are really nice, sort of floating nightstands. This is made of English chestnut, the same as I've also bought a mug as well, which is cool. It's the last of the first batch. The new batch is on order if anyone's interested in a mug. So this is the same chestnut tree that I made the bed from. They've now ordered the nightstands. I thought they may order them, so I kept enough chestnut back so they can have it all from one tree. So that's really nice for them. It's got slightly different. It's got a French cleat that holds it on the wall, but slightly different to some of the other ones. There's a space here they wanted for cables, so they can thread cables through there and up through there, so you don't have to have the cable going up the side of the wall, which is quite cool. So they're collecting that today. Hope they like it. What else is going on? Loads of chopping boards. Got a couple of shows coming up, some smaller ones, HR again. So I've got some chopping boards. You know I hate waste. I'm going to be doing a whole video actually on how green I try and run my workshop. You know all about my sawdust burner. I love my sawdust. It keeps me warm in the winter. This is stock for future chopping boards. So just loading up for Birmingham to deliver the bed. Bit of a delay. Some of the cardboard I kept full of those pins. Couldn't have that scratching it all. So I've cut a couple of big oak trees down, both dead in the field, right by my workshop. This one's already on Patreon if you want to follow that story. It'll be coming to YouTube when I've had it planked, etc. So I also cut down another oak tree. It's already dead. It's on the farm in the other direction, still about a mile from my workshop. Really beautiful. It's quite funny actually, because you can see here, totally surrounded by cows. They were so interested what I was doing. A friend of mine now has got a portable mill, so hopefully these little bits we're going to be milling in my yard in the next couple of weeks. So this week is, as you can tell, it's just going to be a bit of an update on what I've been doing and what's going on this and a bit of last week. Let me show you the kiln as we go through. Oh yeah, and I've had a delivery. I've got some samples. I'll show you this. I've got some stuff in from repairing my kiln actually. This is a bit here, it's broken. I've got some stuff in from Rob at Amicus, who do that lovely oil that I've been using, the Heidelberg oil. So I've got a couple of things. He's got a new waterproof glue, a D3 to try. He's got a new, this is another water-based glue, but this is 15 to 25 minutes. He does a range of fast-setting glues. I think it's 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 25, something like that. So I've got this to try. I'll obviously be showing you a video on that once I've done some tests. The main thing in here is the spray gun, which is a pressurised gun. So you know I've been using the 2-pack water-based for metal and for wood. Well, my spray gun wouldn't spray it, so I need a pressurised gun. So I got this from Rob. What's really cool, it's quite hard to set these guns up. Or I've been told it is. So what's cool is Rob actually will set this up for you. So this has been tested and set up, ready to go. So not going to have to touch any of the settings, at least to get me started. Here's my little hose. So the difference on the pressurised gun is you push the little hose in here, and then the top is actually pressurised, and that's how it can spray that really heavy liquid. The 2-pack's really thick, especially the undercoat. But it's great that he'll set this up for you, and so you get off to a good start. That's good. So I can't wait to try that. And there's a few. I was asking Rob about diluting the oil to get it to soak right into the wood, especially when I'm sanding resin. So I did a test and I showed you I put some thinners in. Well, they actually make, Heidelberg actually have, I've got some samples here, they have different volume, different viscosity versions. So there is one that's really like water, so you don't need to waste watering it down. You could use that as an undercoat. I think it can be used as a top coat, but it's very, very thin. So if you wanted to put that on for penetrating and then finish off with your main Heidelberg oil. So there's 2 or 3 of those to try. When I get around to trying these, I will be doing a follow-up video on all of them with you, and I've got I'm doing some test sort of swatches, if you like, for these finishes, labelling them up so I can just forget about it. And then there's another one here which is semi-matte 30% sheen. So if you are looking for a kind of polished finish on your oil and you're going to buff it with the resin, then that could be the one. But when I get around to testing these, I will definitely show you that. But let's carry on to this kiln. So it's a very simple kiln. Now someone was asking me about it, which is why I'm showing you. I have done a video on it before, but just to get this thing up to date, I know the old videos disappeared. It's looking a bit messy at the moment. All I've got is 2 tubes and I've got a thermostat. This is going to tell me how much humidity there is and what the temperature is. I also have a little remote stat somewhere which would switch these on and off. So you plug the remote stat out here, plug that into that, put the remote control into here, and then this would generate the heat. And when it gets to the temperature, just shut the plug off. Very simple. Now I started using these mainly for drying resin. So this one's just had a bit of damage. I dropped a slab on it, unfortunately. So this one would have a resin slab in it traditionally before I had my resin room, and I could keep the temperature and keep the dust off. Now I have a resin room. I don't use this for that anymore. What I now use this for is bringing the moisture level down on already dry slabs. So these are not drying them with a dehumidifier and heat. If you've got a slab like this has been air dried, this walnut's been air dried for about 6 years. I know it's dry enough, it just has soaked up the ambient moisture. So a traditional technique here might be to bring it into the house, leave it for 6 weeks, 3 weeks, however you feel, then check the moisture again, then you could build your furniture. Obviously I can't do that if I'm making furniture to ship abroad or I'm shipping it somewhere else. So I actually tend to just bring that down in the kiln. So I will get the kiln to a steady level, let's say 28, 30 max. Couple of weeks and this thing will be perfect. It's not going to case harden because it's already dry. I have actually attempted to dry walnut in there with no dehumidifier, and all the early tests, walnut that's at around about 28, and all the early tests are showing that it's very, very good. I'm going to saw through it in a couple of weeks and see if there's any sort of signs of case hardening. But the idea of my kilns they're not vacuum kilns, obviously. They're not dehumidifier kilns. They are literally just a stable environment, more stable than, say, is obviously open to the elements here, and it's not heated. In the winter, it just helps me control it. That's all the kilns are. Just come out here and show you a couple of very interesting things before we wrap this one up. I know it's a bit bitty, but I just wanted to show you what I've been up to, really. I haven't got a particular topic this week. So these are pretty nice. Let's have a look here. So I've just bought 4 of these for 2 tables, and they're both book matched. They're really lovely. It's hard to see the grain. There you go. Really, really nice. So I've got 4 of those, 2 on the top there, 2 on the bottom. Really thick. So these are a bit, it's going to be interesting. I'll take you through planing these. These are so thick that I'm going to be able to flatten that off. Probably pinch it off there anyway, but I could get away with it because I'm only going to end up about 48. So that's quite nice. These are epic. I bought this is like a whole chestnut tree. My idea for here is, this will be the first one on next week. I'm making a resin table with this next week. I'm actually going to attempt with this one to not straighten the edge and see what it looks like. It's going to be a kind of bowed edge and then a bowed middle. So it's going to kind of, your resin's going to go round like that in the middle, not too big. And then I'm going to see what it looks like with just maybe shaving the edge just to give it a little bit, but just keeping it a bit more distressed. And then these are absolutely wonderful. So I bought this whole lot. This is all oak. Really thin on the bottom, about 28 mil. These are about 55 mil. Then there's this massive one on the top. Really full of character. Again, tidy up the edges, probably resin on those. Loads of resin in here, but it's all good wood. And this is, I've been told by the yard that this is where I bought this. This is quite brown. I do really like the brown oak. It's really nice colour. We don't get that very often in the UK. There's someone collecting some of the hay the other day for one of their horses, and they said they saw all this wood and said, "Oh, are you after any wood?" So I always say, "Well, what have we got?" And it turns out that they've got an industrial farm using biomass. Now, I've heard a lot about this recently. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I actually don't like the idea of a whole forest and a whole oak tree being chipped on a government grant to generate income. I understand chipping all the little branches and all the waste, but why you would take a whole tree and stick it through a chipper just to get money from the government, I don't know, that's a weird thing, especially when you're talking about rare English oak trees, big chestnut trees. We're not just talking about deforestation of managed forests, we're talking about, you know, trees in the middle of fields that are beautiful, and they definitely have a value as furniture. Anyway, that's my opinion, don't want to get controversial on it, but turns out that they're chipping stuff, and when it gets to about 2.5 foot, believe it or not, it doesn't fit in their chipper. So I've actually seen a tree, I'm going to try and get a picture of it if I can. You can see it looks like Pac-Man's eating the front of it, and that's where the trunk has been stuck in this chipper and it won't take it, so they take it out and put it on the side. So I now have an option, and that is really close to me. That is probably 1/4 mile from my workshop. I now have an option, if I get this stuff, obviously I'm going to show you, but I have an option to buy anything that they can't fit in their chipper. So that's quite exciting. Now I've tried to price it up. I'm not an expert on pricing up lumber. To be perfectly honest, if I usually get given some lumber to remove it so they don't have to pay a tree surgeon to take it out of their field, and I get good deals down at the wood yard if they've dug something up that looks a bit rotten or a bit old, interesting. And when it comes to really high grade stuff, I just buy it. I buy it, obviously I machine it myself, but I just buy it. So I'm not great at pricing fallen trees, or even for that matter, trees that have been removed to be chipped. But the person actually valued the tree as what he would get paid for it to be burnt, which, I don't know, I don't like it, but that's just how it is. But so I'm going to get this lot to the wood yard, get it planked. I've offered him the burning price, or the value of it burnt. I'm going to get it planked, and let's see whether it works out for me. I mean, it might be something, it might work out so well that I can actually start selling some slabs that are going to be surplus to my requirements, and then I could actually start selling some slabs here. If I get my kiln set up later on this summer, I'll be able to supply them kiln dried as well. So that could be something to look forward to, and we could be saving some trees from literally going into the chipper. So I'm starting to work with some boutique hotels and some interior designers, and they're quite interested in the green, or I say green, but the kind of carbon neutral, carbon footprint. Everyone's interested in this kind of efficient way of manufacturing, and on a small shop like mine, it's actually really easy to be efficient. I've got my sawdust piles there for the winter, that heats my workshop. All my offcuts, as you know, go into making small gadget stands and chopping boards. It's quite labour intensive, but it does keep everything to a minimum in terms of waste. So I was just really interested in that. So I'm gonna actually do a whole video following me around about how I try and run my shop and keep it low impact. But save that for another one. I'm going on a bit now. But anyway, thanks so much for watching as always. Even more Patreons, thank you so much. You've got a load of new videos on the Patreon channel with these trees in half their state in the field. It'll all come on YouTube, don't worry, it'll all be coming, but I want to kind of make it a coherent story for YouTube rather than just a diary. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.